me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to the School Recreation Commission meeting of September 14, 2022. We've now in line for the approval of the minutes of August 15, 2022. Is there a motion?
I made that, I second it.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Norton, seconded by Commissioner Sullivan to approve the minutes of August 15. Is there any discussion? Okay, according to town council, you don't have to abstain on minutes. So it's up to you.
Yeah, I'll just, I didn't get a chance to read it, so.
Okay. All right, very good. So we'll put that motion to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed and all abstaining.
Aye.
Okay, that's 4-0-1. The next item on our agenda is public participation. Is there anyone here to speak under public participation on an item that is not otherwise on our agenda? All right, seeing no one, we'll skip down to the director's report. Mr. Regan.
All right, thank you very much. Hope everyone had a nice Labor Day. And I'm gonna say this, and I mean it 100%, enjoyed the rain we got over Labor Day.
Yeah.
It was very nice to have. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it was refreshing. So, just wanted to give a quick update on pickleball and the development of future courts. I recently had a conversation with a member of the Norbloom Company regarding the addition of some pickleball courts on their property over at Network Drive, the property that they're working on with some life science buildings going in. They are planning to construct a single court in the center of the property for use by their tenants. We discussed the potential of adding multiple courts in one of the parking lot sections on the periphery or the perimeter of the parking lot. This was not something that they were thinking about. It was, one of the concerns they have was liability because of the different users there and in these groups not being tenants that might come in and play. So this discussion happened a couple weeks ago. I followed up with engineering, and there is another person that I'm going to reach out to that's maybe a little further up the food chain that, might be a little more receptive.
Good.
So I will be following up with that. The Simons Park courts, we did receive some rain over Labor Day weekend, but I wasn't able to connect with the gentleman from the paving company that we use a lot, but I was able to get a hold of him yesterday. I took some pictures and sent them to him. He was able to respond. His concerns were that it might not make it a completely level surface. There might still be some, it wouldn't be a perfectly smooth surface, and it would be two different surfaces. It's like a concrete slurry that gets poured on and levels it out, and then also some asphalt. So he's going to come up with another solution. He thinks that maybe a skim coat of 1 inch across the whole courts, and he will give me a price for that. But I'm going to wait to hear back from him. He said he'd have it for me hopefully this week, and then I will share that information. But if that's the case, we're probably looking at, a warrant article next year to skim coat, paint, install posts, and then cap the ones down below and paint that for street hockey if that's the way we choose to move. So that's where we are with pickleball.
Do you want to, anyone have any questions on that? Kevin?
Oh, just so we do it right, is that, should we get a price of grinding it and doing 3 inches like we traditionally do?
Yep, I will ask, but I'm pretty sure were the courts, and I'm looking at Kelly because I think, were they done under the previous director?
Yes.
So, but if that's the best mechanism, I'll ask him if he thinks that a 1 inch, because they were done within the last 10 years. That court specifically. The other courts were done 4 years ago just before we did the lights. We ground them and repaved when we installed the pickleball courts. on the lower. So I will ask him
Okay.
the option between the two. You know, if it's a good surface, it's solid, there's not cracks in it, it's just, there were some undulations. I don't know who did the paving at the time, but we can, you know, just do 1 inch because the base is solid still, and, you know, install the posts and get 4 pickleball courts up there. You know, we might want to look at maybe some fencing, just to update the fencing. Some of the fencing on other sections when we did paving was updated, so look to update that fencing as part of it and have a nice new set of pickleball courts there.
Thank you.
Bill?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of things. When I initially proposed the no bloom courts, I wasn't necessarily thinking that it would be on their property because of the same thing for liability and such. That, you know, kind of due to the town meeting and the town allowing 4 additional buildings plus maybe parking garages, that they maybe cede just a corner of that section to the town, and then we'd have that liability. So I wasn't thinking they would own that liability. The other thing with pickleball, I know you made a new sign for 9 o'clock. Maybe if we're gonna think of a new sign later on, is to add, maybe they don't need to play music down there. I know there's a group recently that I came in contact with that has a speaker out there playing music. I enjoy the music, but the neighbors, I can imagine, that aren't inclined to do that, and I know that was one of the complaints. So maybe you can put up another sign, just say, refrain from playing music. I know other courts have that same, or similar signs like that.
I believe that is on our sign.
Is it?
Or it's been updated on the QR code, and
Okay, probably
I
QR
think I
code.
was holding off on a sign until we figured out what we were gonna
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
overall.
It does say 9 o'clock, but it may be on the QR code, but I know
I
the
think it's
folks
on the
down there-
QR code then.
The
I think
folks
we updated.
probably that are playing the music aren't hitting the QR code, I'm guessing.
The gentleman that plays the music has been asked not to, multiple times.
Well, that's
so-
been recently, and he continues to
Okay.
to hit that, so.
I can revisit the topic
Yeah.
with that gentleman.
Okay. Thank
Brendan,
you.
you all set, Bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, yes.
One other comment on the relocating of the pickleball courts. If we're gonna put the street hockey down below, I assume we're gonna leave the soundproofing down there to mitigate the street hockey sounds and just put up new soundproofing up top?
I was
Otherwise, we're gonna be here again, I think.
Possibly. I can, if it comes to the point where it's over 15,000 to do it and we're gonna need to do a warrant article, then might as well add new soundproofing in.
Yeah.
So we could do that. Okay?
I wanna skip down to the Simons Park Playground at this point. Brendan?
Sure, yes, thank you. So we are beginning the planning process of replacing the playground at Simons Park. The current playground is over 20 years old, and we're really starting, you know, to put more money into it, to replace parts, replace components, and there's daily repair that needs to go on. And we're looking to create a universally accessible playground that would allow people of all ability levels, especially children with a disability, to play, learn, and grow together. And we would like to, you know, revamp that play area, utilizing some of the ledge to build ramps that will get participants to all components and all levels of the components, as well as adding some elements that are, you know, at ground level, swings and merry-go-rounds that maybe a person with a disability can't transfer, into a swing or something like that. There's all kinds of great components out there. So we're in the beginning stages of that, and we've been approached by a local family, and Michelle Marino is here with us tonight. She stopped in to support the project, but her and her husband have connections in both the business and in the business community, both the corporations and in commercial real estate, and have offered their assistance in seeking donations for the playground. They're neighbors to the park, and they're excited to move forward with the planning. We'll be meeting with them again to discuss our next steps in the strategy, and we've talked about creating a Friends of that can help raise funds for that. And we're also talking about, you know, that universally accessible playground and what that design would look like. and looking at components from multiple playground vendors to, really pick the best, because Simons Park has always been that showcase playground in Burlington, but with that comes a lot of wear and tear, and we're really starting to show it now. So we wanted to have a discussion if there was questions on it, but we didn't want to put something out into the community and not have our commission be aware of that. So we really want to start kicking things off this fall and moving ahead with that, so.
Well, before we open it up, Michelle, did you want to come up and make a few comments, or are you just going to offer your support?
I'm here to offer support, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, the minutes will reflect, Michelle, that you're here and you're offering all of your support. So thank you very much for that. All right, comments from the commission? Questions?
Oh, just, if Community Preservation Act passes, a new playground, it would be definitely in the, contention for funds being used by CPA, so, that would be great. I would love to see that in the future that we do the, pour in place, base instead of doing the fiber mulch.
Yep.
It, you drive around the other, towns and communities, and, the fiber mulch just, it breeds weeds. It always gets pushed away. It would be a safer park and more accessible, if we do the pour and play. So I'd be a big advocate for that.
Yeah, one of the other things I think we need to do is look at, more opportunities for shade on the structure, because it does sit up there on the top of the hill and does sit in the sun. So the poured-in-place surfaces do draw heat as well. So mixing it up with potentially some, artificial turf or something like that, but also shade, over the equipment. So now they incorporate shade structures that are part of the equipment on the higher elements. You get posts that extend a little higher and have canopies on them. So all of those things would be looked at, and I think having a family that's interested in assisting with this is very helpful for us. And I know a member of the last Simons Park Playground Committee from 20-plus years ago, someone very involved in the local community and in politics and stuff, is also interested in being part of it. So I think we have, a good group coming forward, but we have some people from the past that really were involved in the planning as well. So I think we'll have some very good community support for this project.
Any other questions or comments?
What
David.
kind of numbers do you think we're looking at here? We don't need real numbers, but just sort of close numbers.
Over $500,000, probably
Okay.
closer to three-quarters.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big number.
For a number of reasons, making it, universally accessible is part of it, but also, playground equipment has come a long way, and the components that we would like to put there to make it accessible for everybody, some of it does cost, more than others. So especially the ones that are universally accessible, that make it that universally accessible playground. And then, site work will probably, I think we'd like to utilize, but who knows? It'll depend once we start doing design, but utilize the foundation wall that's already there, but, moving out of there as well, moving to, maybe over towards the, where we kind of have picnic tables under the pine trees there, expanding there a little more. But we'll find out as we move forward, but it's definitely in that $750,000 range, over $500,000, close to $750,000. So this is not an overnight project unless we have a very generous benefactor, but still then we'd have to worry about bringing in the components and having it designed. So
Well, would there be a problem with if CPA passes and we can get money from that, and then there's the private money, is there a problem converging those two? No?
Nope.
That's
I don't think
no,
fine,
and
right?
I would say it's probably if CPA passes, it would be a three-pronged approach, you know, private donations, CPA, and then probably a warrant article as well.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how.
And yes,
it all
thank you,
goes.
Kelly. And so maybe four-pronged, possibly some money from the Simons Trust as well.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
And just to add, CPA can work with grants too. Any, just like you're saying.
Like
and-
matching grants and,
Yep.
yep.
So it would cover the town side.
So as we start to meet, you know, have some meetings this fall and start to, you know, build what we're going to do, we'll keep you informed.
Nice.
Do you have an overall time frame in mind, Brendan?
I think it's gonna be a couple year process, potentially maybe, you know, looking for some design funds at next year's town meeting. That will kinda, you know, give us that design that can be shopped around, that people can see and get excited about, and then, you know, manipulating the components, see what works where, and, but, you know, going out to get an actual design done will be helpful.
Sure. So maybe we'll have a warrant article for the design aspect of it.
And then the next
May.
year,
Yeah.
yes, and,
Because it's gonna take a while to get the CPA funded.
right,
Just because we pass it, assuming we pass it in November, it's gonna take a couple of fiscal years to get, you know, a chunk of
Right.
money into the account, and everyone's gonna be fighting for it.
sure,
So we might need warrant articles without the CPA, warrant articles with it, and, you know, just to combine a lot of different financing options plus private money. When I was on the school committee years ago, there was kind of an expectation in the town that playgrounds were gonna be funded by fundraisers and private donations, and eventually, the school committee took the position that these are facilities that are important for, you know, the social and physical growth of children. The town ought to be paying for it. We shouldn't be expecting private people to fund the whole thing. It's wonderful we can get help, particularly with projects like this, because this is a big expenditure. In the old days, it was $50,000, you could build a playground. Now you can get the design work done for $50,000. So I think we ought to be comfortable in asking the town to support the project and not put too much pressure on trying to get it all done, you know, through private funding. It's a nice partnership, but I think that it's an obligation of the town, and to the extent through your efforts and private efforts we can get assistance, that's fantastic.
okay.
Thank
We're
you.
excited to move forward with it.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Michelle.
Okay, I'm just gonna jump back up. We'll stay with Simon's Park. The Treehouse Project got kicked off on Thursday, September 8th. They had some housing delays, and they're still dealing with some housing things. But they did arrive last Thursday. They dropped some support logs and things. And then on Thursday, they were on, prior to that, and then on Thursday, they were on site, confirming the layout, unloading the trailers, and doing those type of things, prepping the site, mobilizing. And then today, they had helical piles put in. That's what the ramping will be. The support posts will be attached to those. And they're really a great group of guys. They've come from New Jersey, Vermont, Virginia. I think there's a couple from Virginia, and then maybe one from North Carolina or Ohio. So anyways, they've come from all over. We talked about a groundbreaking, and as you saw in my email that I sent out, we are going to have a small groundbreaking ceremony. It's not open to the public. We just did a small thing for the Gillingham family, the trustees, and the recreation commissioners, and our staff on Sunday. So we're hoping that you can go, and I do know that Phil Gillingham will be representing the Gillingham family to say a few words. Joshua Simons is going out of town next week, and was hoping to make it on Sunday, but because he's going out, his work is calling him to finish before he leaves. So Karen Hoyt will be saying a few words, but I would like to have someone from the commission as well say a few words on the project. So
I'm happy to do it unless somebody else has a strong sense. Anybody else want to make a few comments?
I'm not gonna be around for the
Yes.
Sunday at
thank you.
4, is it?
Yes.
I'll be happy to do that.
Okay. All right, that's good.
Brendan, can I
Um,
bring my kids down?
Sure,
Great.
sure, yeah. So you'll have, will your wife be coming too, or,
I think so. All
so I'll say 4.
right, thanks.
Okay, yep.
Can I bring my chainsaw?
No, you are not allowed to bring your chainsaw. That's for everyone's safety, not just yours.
I was up there today, they do it by hand.
Yeah,
year.
Brendan, if there are-
I saw
if-
on Friday, they do it by hand, they're a real deal.
yep.
I'd say have a competition.
I did see a chainsaw today, though, but
Yeah.
I saw them doing everything by hand.
Yeah, also, some dead trees that were right on the perimeter that we've been looking to take down this summer, but we had trailers and stuff up there. So there was 3 trees that are right in that area, old pines that were dead, came down today, we had them removed. And then some stumps ground, and then there was 2 trees out on Bedford Street by the Little League field, that old elms that were rotted and dead, they took those down. We did, just in case you see anything or hear anything, we did close the playground at Simon's Park tonight, because they came in later this afternoon to do the work. They are working there, they have to chip on the driveway, they can't get their chipper down further. So with the wind blowing, it was blowing towards the playground, they just asked if we could close it so that they didn't blow wood chips. So we've locked it and put caution tape and put it out on social media. Some good work going on up there, and we're excited for those results too.
Do you have any Eagle Scouts, Brendan, that are looking for projects?
There is one, and I've offered up some things. I haven't heard back from them. They had their sights set on the area up around the reservoir, but John Sanchez is not looking to encourage people to visit around, as our drinking source, to encourage
Yeah.
people to hang around up there. The scouts are always good, they're not concerned about that. It's if they create some kind of something, seating area that will draw people. One of the projects was a fire pit that they wanted to do, but do you have an Eagle Scout?
Well, I was just
project?
wondering if anyone was interested in doing like a documentary of the construction
Oh.
of the treehouse.
Yeah.
Every day they could go up and.
I think
do a
there is
film.
some interest, not so much in documentary, but following the project by BCAT.
Okay.
And, they will be there to cover it, so, and they'll put together a package, a highlight package that'll go out, but we can have a further conversation on that. Maybe there's a weekly update that can be done
That'd be
on the
nice.
progress,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's all I have right now until we get to new business.
Okay, Bill's not here for the park superintendent report. Are you gonna give that report, Brendan?
Yeah, if there's any questions, he sent it out. Pool is closed, everything's been winterized. They're continuing with trash. They're lining ball fields and grooming some still and prepping. We've changed some layouts for youth soccer, so they've been doing that. And they are also doing the early fall fertilization. They've done aerating, fertilizing. They'll be overseeding soon. It's amazing just the couple days that we got of rain over Labor Day and last week, how things start to come back. Not overnight, but that what the water does for the grass in a short period is pretty amazing. So they're working on playground fiber as well, answering requests at the schools to work on things there that have come up now that the schools are back open, and installed a couple benches on the town common, and prepared the common for September 11th. And most of the seasonal workers are gone. We have a couple that we have an agreement that have stayed on, and they'll be on until just before Columbus Day. And I think that's it. Oh, there was a Eagle Scout that did a Gaga ball pit over at Francis Wyman. Something we've been planning since the spring, and they got their funds together and their group. We provided a dump truck for them to remove the earth that they had to take out to level it, and provided them with 4 yards of stone dust for inside. They put a couple benches and a gaga ball pit, so,
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
so that's it.
Any questions on that report?
A couple of
Mr.
things.
Sullivan.
Brendan, some of the baseball fields are just getting grown with weeds. We're probably not using them, but if we neglect them like that, they're just, the public sees it and thinks we're not paying attention to our parks. So is that something that can be addressed before the winter?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
they're on the list, they're just, when they're not being used, because we still do have adult softball going on, and there is a youth team, softball I know that's practicing, but, this time of year when we lose everybody, we have to, the ball fields aren't the most important, but they are going out. We've done repair work on mounds. They're going around systematically to do each field, and then when we get to October, when no one's using them anymore, they'll be turned over so that they sit and get open air for the season. They won't have any weeds or anything growing, and then it just puts us ahead for next spring to just go and start the grooming process. But it is a conversation we've had, and I know they are working on it. But
Okay.
again, the person we have dedicated to do ball fields in the summer, when it's, our busiest, spring and summer, we don't have as many seasonal help, so they get pulled to do, other projects that come up.
No, I understand that. It's just I go by TRW all the time, and that doesn't look like they've touched them.
Yep, because there's been no permits there, and that's one that probably has to have a complete redo,
Yeah, but
both
then
of them.
residents see it and think it's very visible in that we're ignoring it, so it just seems like if we.
I will put TRW on the list.
Yep, and the other question I asked Bill about was, we have a sprinkler system at Marshall Simons that got broken when they did the fields, and we've never repaired it. Is that something, I asked Bill if we could find out if we could repair it, or if we needed to have a private contractor do it,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't heard anything about that either.
I'll follow up, but yeah, that is something that
I-
may be part of a larger field project there, to get that up and running.
The line got cut, or it's a matter of it can be repaired or not. All the lines are through the fields.
They are, yep. It
It's
was
just
coiled up in the corner and left by the contractor that did the field, so.
Right, but we never fixed it. It's, water makes fields better when we can water.
Yes,
The fertilizing program we use doesn't work unless we have water, for the most part. I'd just like to, if it has to be a warrant article or something, but it's probably 3/4 there already. Just fixing it. It worked before the construction.
okay. I will check in with him on his progress. Okay.
All right, any other questions?
Just a
Go.
question to kind of answer that, Kevin. So I don't know the history of that, but there was a contractor came in and broke the current sprinkler system?
When they did the turf field at Marshall Simons
Yeah.
in the track,
And that was years ago, though,
right,
wasn't it?
it's never been repaired.
But there was no discussion with the contractor at the time to, fix it themselves or get some remedy to that?
Brendan, you want?
I
It
wasn't here.
It
I
was-
don't know.
It was a school project,
Mm.
but we maintained the fields, so we weren't in, it wasn't our project. But at some point, it needs to be repaired.
Probably too late to put a claim in. I don't remember hearing about it. when
And
I
you
was
were on
the
school committee.
I don't
right?
remember
So,
hearing about it, yeah.
Okay.
The whole sprinkler system for the backfield?
Yeah, the lower brush,
The
the
lower
grass
field?
area does have an irrigation system in it.
Oh, okay. I
Um,
didn't know that.
Yeah, so, I don't know if the clock, there's a little block building at Brush. I believe the clock is in there. I don't know if the electrical got cut there, and there's some irrigation coiled up on the other side of, like, towards the corner where the gym is. So, I don't know the whole history of it. I can check with our former park superintendent. He's a wealth of knowledge and would let us know, be able to tell us what he remembers from that time.
Oh, so,
So, it sounds to me like a warrant article. Or
Could
a
be.
reserve, a reserve fund issue. I
Mhm.
don't think we're gonna get anything from a contractor 10 years later
No.
or 8 years later.
No, we won't.
yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Kevin?
Steve, I'm not looking to file a claim or anything, but if it's repairable, we should try to repair it, is my point. If it's cut wires, wires can be replaced.
Sure.
If it's a broken pipe, a pipe can be fixed. I'm not trying to point blame, we should fix it. It's there. Water on that field would make it a better field, and, Marshall Simons gets used a lot. If we could make a better field there, it would be better.
That whole field is irrigated? They got sprinkler heads through the whole thing?
Right, Brendan?
I believe so, from
Oh,
what
yeah, we
I've
should
been
definitely
told,
do that
yes.
then. I never knew that. I practiced on that field 1,000 times. I never saw a sprinkler head. Unless they could be buried too, who knows?
Right.
Hope you're not hitting golf balls over there.
No golf balls. A lot of lacrosse balls in my day.
All right, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Thank you. Moving along, Brendan. Do you want to go to the programming report, or do you want us? Skip
Why don't we
down.
go to the programming report, and then we can get to new business?
All right, Kelly.
Thank you. So, the programming staff has really been focused on, kind of wrapping up our summer programs. We did have this year, our adult softball league reached, league numbers as far as the number of teams, reached pre-COVID levels for each of the leagues that we offer, each of the 3 leagues. So we were very excited, for that. The co-ed division has already had their playoffs and they are done playing for the season. The Fun League has a game tomorrow, I believe, and that will wrap up their season. And then the official league is now in playoffs, so it should wrap up by the end of the month, but we were excited to see our adult league numbers come back from pre-COVID levels, so that was exciting. Our fall program registration began at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, August 31st. It was very well received by the community. We had a lot of people register that evening. And our staff once again opened the office from 6 to 8 to help people who maybe had some questions or wanted to register in person. So I just want to thank them again for opening up outside of our typical work hours to help the residents. Quite honestly, this was the quietest registration we've ever had. There's usually some sort of problem on our software where we have to tweak some things on the back end for registration to happen, and that didn't happen this season, so that was very exciting for us. But very boring as far as the 6 to 8 was concerned, which, we were able to do some other work, but, so that was a good thing. And, we were excited, to see that people were able to register without having to call and, fix some stuff. Non-resident registration, began on Wednesday, September 7th, and we did see a bump as expected in our registration. And we've had to cancel a few programs, mostly ones that were starting right at September 6th or 7th, but not very many, so that's also good. And then we were also excited to announce that this fall we were offering our first ever middle school field hockey team. We've been working with some coaches in the area to provide clinics for girls or people who want to play field hockey. And they have enough interest now to actually field a team. So Jesse sent the schedule out today. They'll be hosting Chelmsford, North Reading, and there's another one that I was like, I'm not going to forget, but I did. And then we'll also be traveling to those communities as well to play field hockey games there. So we're excited to be able to start growing that at the youth level, because that's not something that people actually see until late middle school, early high school. So hopefully we're able to kind of grow that within the community a little bit. And then finally, the fourth quarter is always jam-packed with special events for us. It's the biggest kind of special event season we have. We'll have 10 special events over the next 4 months. As recently as Truck Day on Sunday. We'll follow that with the fitness festival. In October, we'll have our Trucktober event and the Spooktacular and the Candy Crane Drop. November is our slowest month with just the turkey trot. And then December, we'll see Disability Awareness Day, the tree lighting, calling Santa, photos with Santa, and some gingerbread house decorating. And that sums up the fall for us, kind of.
Fantastic. Questions for Kelly on her report? Comments?
This sounds like a fun quarter.
Yeah.
It is, it usually is.
Kelly, I just have one question on the new program, the middle school.
Yeah.
How will they get to the away games?
Parents will have to drive them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
like caravan.
We're not providing any
No.
minibuses or anything. You
Nope.
sure you don't want to do that, Brendan?
I am positive.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, moving on. Next item on our agenda is the chairman's report. I don't have anything specific to report this evening, so we'll move on. Does anyone have any subcommittee reports this evening? No, it's been a quiet couple of weeks, which is good. So we'll move right along to new business. We have the appointment of the Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation, Mr. Regan.
All right, thank you. As you recall at our last meeting, we approved the job description for the Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation. We advertised the position and we received approximately 20 resumes or letters of interest. We did some interviews, offered interviews. Some people declined. We did an interview process, and after completing that interview process with the Human Resource Director, we have found our candidate, and that candidate is Kelly Lehman, who is sitting to my left. Kelly is our current program coordinator and has worked for our department for approximately 14 years. During her time with the department, the program division has grown exponentially. Under Kelly's direction, the program division has seen an increase of 78% in programs, a 116% increase in events, a 141% increase in sponsorships, and program attendance has increased by 90%. Kelly's taken on more administrative responsibility, as we talked about during the discussions on the position and the need for it. The amount of administrative responsibilities that has continued to grow with our department as our department grew, and Kelly has taken on a lot of that and continues to as the department grows. She has obtained certifications as a certified playground safety inspector and an aquatics facility manager on her own. She's gone out to do those, and her ability to handle any situation that arises with a well-thought-out and calm response, always putting our department first, and the ability to use, or to see the big picture, they're assets that we can't overlook. I do not hesitate to recommend Kelly to the position and request that the Recreation Commission vote to appoint Kelly Lehman as the department's first Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation.
Okay, before we open it up for comments, is there a motion?
I make that motion.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Sheehan and seconded by Commissioner Gaffney, I believe, to appoint Kelly Lehman as the department's first Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation. Comments or questions from the commission?
I have one. Brendan, I asked Steve, usually one of the commissioners, at least one, sometimes two, would be in the interview process. Did you?
I asked at the last meeting, no one said anything. I asked if anyone wanted to be on the committee, and no one said anything. I was a little surprised.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. It's just past practice. We've always had commissioners on the process. It's always been done.
Right.
Doing all the interviews. So
Which is why I asked, and no one said anything, and we can watch, you know, we can
Yeah,
watch the
it's-
video
He
again.
did say it, but
Well,
it's,
and-
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
So
But it was-
An email reaching out saying that no one
I
reached
should have
out.
followed up after that.
You're making the perfect choice, but the process should be followed the way we've done it in past practices, that you have a commissioner involved in such a high selection.
Mhm.
And then it's just the way it's always been. If no one responded to you, I think you should have reached out to the chair, and the chair could have designated one of us. I didn't hear anything. I thought someone was doing it. It's the process you need to follow is my concern, that we follow those. You know, it's always been done that way.
Okay, so how would you like to
I'm
move
not
forward?
objecting to the selection. Just the process needs, when we do things like that.
Okay, how would you like to rectify that for this?
I'll defer to the chair. You've seen more in school committee and things like that.
Well, you know, the interviews have already taken place, Kevin, so I'm not sure that we can do anything retroactively for this appointment. I think in the future, and I think it went by me when Brendan at the last meeting was asking if anybody wanted to participate, but I think your suggestion is a good one, but we should have a policy. If it's not in writing, maybe put a policy in writing that regardless of any lack of perceived interest, we ought to have somebody on participating in the interviews. And if no one does, or no one volunteers, then the chair should be asked to appoint somebody.
Okay.
I think that's a good.
I should have followed up with an
Good
email. I
policy.
didn't realize that it wasn't heard, so, I know, we've always had them for other positions. I know, I understand that. I just figured no one was interested in participating when I said it, so.
So I guess we have two choices, Kevin. You could withdraw your motion to approve.
No,
but I
so
don't know if we
I
wanna
think
do that.
Kelly's the best person for the job by far.
Yeah.
Kelly could do Brendan's job. I don't think she'd want it, but she's the best candidate. I just wanted to make a point that
That's a point well taken.
it's always been practiced that at least one, sometime, a lot of times two commissioners have been involved in the interview process. You know, that's something we should follow, and
I agree with you.
Right.
Point very,
Yep,
very well
I
made.
agree too. I should have followed up.
All right, so any other comments or questions before we put the motion to a vote?
I'll make a comment,
Bill?
Mr. Chairman. Yeah, so I would agree as I second the motion. I've had the pleasure of working with Kelly as a non-commissioner and seen her under pressure from other areas, and I think she's an excellent candidate, and I'm glad to see that she's being appointed to this. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And I would agree with Mr. Gaffney. I don't think there's a more qualified candidate for the position. David, did you want to say something?
I mean, it's a no-brainer as far as I see it. I think you've done an unbelievable job in the years I've been on the board. It's grown. You dealt with the whole COVID situation very professionally. Was still able to maintain our programming during a very difficult time. I know you work well with Brendan, and I think you will be an asset as being our assistant director, so. see how it
And-
goes.
Thank you, Dave. One quick follow-up on Kevin's earlier point. I see that Kelly, of course, you're the current program coordinator. Are we looking at interviewing someone to take Kelly's place?
So, if approved tonight, I will share that with the Human Resource Director, who will put out an offer letter, and it'll be, you know, once Kelly, if she accepts, comes to an agreement with the town, you know, we would look at that point to open up her position. So, It's all contingent on, the
No, I'm just
approval here and then,
suggesting-
right, and
Yeah.
then, coming to an agreement, with the town on compensation and things like that, and, because it's out of, it's not in the BMEA, it's in the administrative and professionals, group, so, there are different items in that, compared to the BMEA.
Would the interview process, Brendan, for the program coordinator be something that would involve a recreation commissioner sitting in on it?
Yes, I will ask again, and I will follow up with an email if I don't get a positive response.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Any other further
we've
comments?
always done that. Again, I was surprised that no one
Slip by us.
said anything, so.
All right, any further comments? Seeing none, we'll put the motion to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, and that's unanimous, 5-0-0. Congratulations, Kelly.
Congratulations.
Yeah, Kelly, you deserve it. You're awesome.
Okay.
Just be
Yeah.
gentle on the contract negotiations, okay?
All right, next item on our agenda is the Simons Park Basketball Court renovation contract approval.
Yes, so, thank you. We opened bids on September 8th. We received one bid for the basketball court renovation project from Cella Construction here in Burlington. The bid came in higher than expected at $198,850. Obviously, we knew that there was a chance it would come in high due to continuing increased cost of everything. But we are working with the contractor, with Cella Construction, to see if there's a way to reduce some of the cost. Currently, we purchased the lights and the basketball support systems off of state contract, so that money was taken out of the $230,000 that we had for the project. And then we had the engineering done, the electrical engineering done for getting the power to the site. So we currently have $160,000 remaining for installation and paving. We have identified some available funds in our revolving account, as well as some that have not been fully expended from the Simons Trust for projects that came in under. So we feel we have about $30,000 to add on to this between the revolving and the Simons Trust to get us up to $190,000. We're still talking. I'm confident that we can complete the project for no greater than $190,000. So in order to be able to start the project this fall, I'd like to ask the Recreation Commission to vote to award the contract for the Simons Park Basketball Court renovation to Cella Construction of Burlington for an amount not to exceed $190,000. We are still in negotiations. I don't want to have to reconvene and if we can come to an agreement. I did talk with our procurement officer about this, and I know we can get to the 190 after brief conversations, but I think there might be some savings, some additional savings, and he is working on that, the contractor. But I'm confident we can get it completed for the $190,000. So I'd like to ask for to approve that contract, so we don't have to come back and reconvene and try to do another meeting. I will be at a conference next week, and we don't want to have to try to reconvene in 2 weeks if they can get started before that. So that is the request tonight, to see if you would approve an amount not to exceed $190,000.
Okay, is there a motion to approve Cella Construction contract in Burlington to complete the Simons Park Basketball Court renovation project in the amount of $190,000?
Steve, just a point of order. Should we approve the revolving account transfer?
I was going to suggest
Well,
that, but let's put a motion on the floor, and then we'll discuss it.
Well, because then we're voting on a contract that we don't have money for, if we vote it backwards.
And know which way it would be best to go in there, so.
I think,
Yeah, I suppose,
If
if
people
we
are
vote for the
watching
first
and
one, we're not
following
going to
the
turn down the second one, but I have no problem if you want to take the revolving count transfer authorization first in the amount of $16,000 to be used for the Simons Park basketball court renovation. Who wanna make that motion?
I'd make that motion.
Okay, and David seconded it. Any discussion on that? Okay, seeing none, we'll put that motion to transfer the sum of $16,000 from the revolving account to be used for the Simons Park basketball court renovation project. To a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, and that's unanimous, 5-0. So now we can go to the main motion, which is to approve the contract with Cella Construction of Burlington for the Simons Park renovation project in the amount of $190,000. Is there a motion?
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed, excuse me, not to
190,000.
exceed $190,000.
So moved.
Second.
All right, moved by Mr. Norden, seconded by Mr. Sullivan. Any further discussion on that?
And Brendan, we have the Simon's Trust monies to make the difference?
Correct.
Okay.
The other 14,000. And I really do think there's an opportunity to come in. Musco Lights have offered up some of their electrical contractors to take a look and see if, if Rico's contractor, maybe overthought it and, he's not tied to one, it was someone, Rico Cella, sorry. They've offered to see if their contractors, can work with Rico and maybe they come in a little less, so there is a possibility of, below 190, but it won't exceed that amount.
Any other questions? All right, let's put that motion to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, and that also is 5-0.
Thank you. I didn't know which one wanted to
Yeah.
go with first. I figured if one was approved, the other one probably wouldn't be, so.
All right, next is the varsity field update. Brenda?
Yep, I just have one more new business item. This came through today. The Department of Public Works facility is scheduled for a ribbon cutting on Friday, September 23rd. I have personal invitations from, if you could pass them down. I will email it out as well. So it's next Friday. They are doing a ribbon cutting at 10 a.m. and they have invited all the recreation commissioners. As you know, this was a two-phase project, and our building was completed first, and along with central maintenance, and we've been sharing facility with the DPW staff for the last year and a little. So their building will be opening down on One Great Meadow at the other end of the road, right behind Coles, and it's a beautiful facility as well, and if you can make it on Friday at 10 o'clock, they will be there, or there will be the ribbon cutting. I wanted to make sure everyone got that tonight.
Has DPW already moved out of the rec building?
Not yet, so. I think all sides might be ready. They got along, really well. We were able to move around our garage so that during the winter, they could store snow plows that have the treatment liquid in the back that can't, they have to stay in climate controlled so they don't freeze up. It's been good. It's been a good working relationship. So we're ready to get our yard to ourselves, kind of, get some more space out back and park all in one lot and things like that. So, but I expect they'll be moving in the next month or so.
Are the construction trailers still in front of our?
They are. So that's where the highway workers have their break room and lunch room and things like that, where they meet in the mornings.
Okay.
So those will go once they move into their new facility.
Any other questions on the DPW facility? All right, very good, Brendan. Are we ready for old business?
Yes, if you are.
I am ready.
Just the old business, just the most recent update I have on Varsity Field is we came in tonight, it looks ready to go. But the turf being delivered sometime next week around the 21st, and beginning to be installed then, and then the track being replaced around October 6th. The entire project completed October 15th through the 20th. Now that's, something that is in flux, dependent on delivery and then installation time frame, but that's the latest. We've been working with the youth sports to move them around in the athletic department to make sure everyone has a place to play, and if the, on turf and on the grass too, because without varsity, they, the high school sports have had to move to other fields. So everyone's been cooperating, it's been going well, and Tricia LaFosse in our office has been working daily with the athletic department and going back and forth, making sure everyone's all set. So we are, we'll be excited for that to be completed and move some things back and get the youth sports back onto fields earlier, so.
Any questions on the varsity project? I just have one quick one, Brenda. Are we gonna lose a home football game because it's not ready yet?
That would have to be something the athletic department would answer. But I don't know what their schedule looked like for this year, off the top of my head, so the athletic director could probably answer that best.
Yeah, okay.
They haven't wanted to use Brush Field for a home game?
No, I think not enough bleacher space and stuff down there.
I think they have a home game against Woburn coming up.
Do
and
they?
This is gonna be
I
later.
think, I heard today they were playing that in Bedford,
Oh, really? Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
so
Interesting.
might get the last game in, I think, is, the conversation I had. And again, this schedule is here today, but could be completely different
All
tomorrow.
depends on delivery, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
In installation.
Okay, are there any other items of old business that anyone wants to bring up tonight?
I just have one more, quick one. Our maintenance staff has been, working on a cricket pitch down at MITRE, and they have the area all, cut out. We have a cricket mat that's come in and will be ready to be rolled out on this area, and it'll be taken off after every game, so it doesn't sit there. We'll get a storage container for it, so it sits off on the side of the field, and when people use it, we'll have a padlock that can be accessed, and we'll change the numbers here and there so it doesn't stay the same. But if anyone's down at MITRE and wants to take a look, it's beyond second base. If there's a ball game that's taking place, they obviously won't be playing cricket and vice versa.
Very good.
So
Any
we're
questions on
excited to
that?
have our first cricket pitch.
Any questions on cricket? All right. Any other items of old business that anyone wants to bring up tonight? All right. We don't have any need for an executive session, I'm assuming.
We do not.
All right, so at this point, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 500.
Excellent. Thank you.